Hello and welcome to another session of Workman Wisdom. My name is Rick Geha. I'm a coach with Workman Success Systems, and I'm excited today to talk to you about a general subject that we call having an ultimate client experience. I mean, an experience that really wows them, that knocks them dead, that amazes them, doesn't just satisfy them or please them. And along with this subject, there's so many things we could talk about. I want to talk about one thing in particular, and that is systematizing, the idea that you could create through a systematic checklist an amazing experience with your client. Now, what we call them now is we actually call them action plans. And what we used to call them was something very simple, a checklist. And we would constantly be adding to the checklist. So what am I talking about? I'll give you an example. You get a call, and it's a buddy of yours named Tom, and Tom says, "Hey, Rick, it's me, Tom." I go, "Tom, long time no talk. How are you?" He goes, "Great. Listen, I'm in a hurry. I just wanted to tell you, I just gave your name to a friend of mine. Her name's Susan, and she's going to be calling you about selling her home." So, ladies and gentlemen, that just happened. That's a listing referral. I just got a listing referral. And what I should be able to do if I'm running an organized, systematic business. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't matter if you say, "Oh, I'm working alone, I don't have a team." First of all, anything you're doing in real estate involves a team. There's always a mortgage professional, there's an insurance person, there's a title or escrow or closing attorney. I mean, there's always a team involved. But let's just say you don't have an assistant, you don't have any admin help, you don't have a buyer's agent, you don't have anything but you and the rest of the team I just mentioned. When this happens, you need to have a checklist. I don't care if it means you have to stay up late 2 nights in a row for into the wee hours of the night, forming out everything in your mind that's supposed to happen from the minute you get a listing referral. Now, having an ultimate client experience, I mean an experience that really wows your clients, means you don't want anything left to chance. You don't want to be lying in bed one night at midnight, dozing off, and then realizing, "Oh my God, I never called them back." Or, "Oh my gosh, I never called to tell them that the sign is going up today," or all the different things that are going to happen. Now think about it. Think about if I asked 10 real estate agents, as soon as I hung up with Tom, having him told me about Susan, I could ask 10 different agents and I'd get 10 different answers about what should happen next. And yet, do you know what? There's so much information that I didn't give you that any question you'd say, any comment you'd say that would come next, I'd say, "Well, do we have that information? Do we know Susan's number? Do we know when she's thinking of selling? Do we know how her and Tom know each other? What do we actually know?" So the point will be not what's right or wrong, it's about what works. What is going to be efficient and what works. So for every type of call you get, for every type of business client you get, you want to develop an action plan. Now, if you're using a CRM like Top Producer, your Top Producer system can have these action plans in them. And I could actually talk about this subject for hours and hours because I know certain things that I like to do that really wow the client. I like to check in with them randomly. I like to make sure I know their birthdays, things like that. All of that is just an addition to, if I ask other people, man, they have lists this long. A gentleman named Anthony from Southern California who sells lots and lots of houses. I can't even tell you how long his list is to wow his clients. So that every step away there's something going on that the client is constantly being amazed. But the idea is it all starts with this action plan. And if you don't have that, call it a checklist. You might say, I don't even use computers. Fine. If you're that archaic, then get out a piece of paper and start with a checklist. In fact, every great action plan started with a checklist. So I might have a list of questions first. Listing referral comes in. 1, determine relationship between the referrer and the referee. Okay, so what does that might be? Well, maybe I find out, how does Tom know Susan? Number 2, get more detailed information on referee as much as possible. Number 3, get name, address, phone number, and email address for referee. Number 4, thank you note with $25 gift certificate goes out to referrer. Now, I'm just rattling these off the top of my head. I don't have any notes, and yet think about all of those things. What we used to say in the referring business is you always reward the referrer even if the referee never buys or sells from you. Because why? You want to reward the behavior. All of those things need to be on that list. We haven't even done anything yet, and we've already sent out a thank you note with a $25 gift certificate to Tom for sending me the referral and saying I'm doing my best to get in touch with Susan. Tom's going to love that because he'll say, look, I got 25 bucks and he hasn't done a thing with her yet. How great is this? Now you're starting to develop that list, right? After that thank you note, what happens? Oh, I got contact with Susan. I've made contact with Susan. Now I got to send out another note, an email to Tom saying, Tom, I've been in contact with Susan. Now, we're only talking about one thing, a listing referral. What if the phone rings and it's somebody who called on your sign? Hi, my name's Jerry. I live down the street from your listing on Smith Street. I was calling you to get some information. Now, that's a whole nother checklist when you get a sign call for a listing. Do you get what I'm saying now? Think about everything you've done in the business. If you're new, you haven't experienced a lot of these things yet. If you're experienced and things are slow, you've done all these. And if things are slow, you know, besides your lead generation time, which you need to be doing every day, you want to be sitting down and getting these checklists ready. You always want to build a business that's sustainable, and having a checklist with action plans is really the way to make it sustainable so that when you do start getting business, everything's on automatic. Now, the beautiful thing about it, even if it's a checklist, you're not using it through Top Producer because maybe you have Top Producer, but you don't have the bandwidth to be in there plugging in an action plan, guess what? A checklist is still a great place to start. So for every file that you start, you got a checklist in it. Now, I'm not going to condone paper. I generally don't condone paper. Everything should be paperless now. But if you do, you're still using a file, at least on the inside of the file, nice checklist there, and you make sure everything gets done. Ladies and gentlemen, an incredible customer experience starts with knowing everything you plan on doing to wow them, to amaze them from the start to finish, and then making sure they get done in time and on time, every time. And those have to include all those basics, regular communication with the customers and all of those things that people have said they want. Now I'm going to say one last thing when you're thinking about an incredible customer experience, that nothing makes an experience more incredible than one that is incredible to that customer and to what that customer calls incredible, not what you call incredible. And what I mean by that is so many times we think we're going to create this action list and checklist and we're going to go follow it step by step. But one of the things on my checklist is one thing that's very important is finding out from that individual customer how do they best like being communicated with so that when I communicate with them, it's the way they like to be communicated with. For instance, I'm still a phone guy, right? I love it when people call me, but I know most people are more in favor of text or faxes or emails, not faxes, believe me, not faxes, emails, text, and other kinds, leave me a voicemail, things like that. Well, I got to tell you, when I ask that, I find out things that are surprising to me. I had a client the other day that was in his late 70s, lovely guy, works out all the time, very healthy, very on top of things. And I said, how do you best like to be communicated with? And I was almost sure he was going to say, call me on the phone and talk to me. That's what I thought he was going to say. Why did I think that? Well, I thought that based on his age, because I know that people of that culture tended to like just to pick up the phone and talk to people. You know what he said? He goes, text me. I'm busy. I was stunned. That's the way he wanted to be communicated with. So that last point there is this, that if you're going to be that person that delivers that incredible customer experience, you have to find out first what that customer refers to as an incredible experience. Not just in the way you communicate with them, but in everything. So those are good points for us to start off with today. But again, this is a big subject and it'll get you started. You have to start researching how you can be more and more amazing at delivering that ultimate customer experience. Take care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next session of Workman Wisdom.